Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. So welcome back to the another part of study with me. So we shall continue the discussion of the subject Usul Fiqh, and specifically on the topics of al-ahkam al-syar'iyyah. We are going to continue the discussion in regards to the Hukum Wad'i, but I think it is better for us to recap back what has been discussed in the first parts of this subject first. So yesterday, basically, we have discussed about the what is meant by Hukum Wad'i and what are the types of Hukum Wad'i. So Hukum Wad'i here, the declaratory rule does not create an obligation, but rather a rule that facilitates the operation or explain the hukum taklifi consists of 5 sabab, syar, mania, sahih, batil, fasid, azimah, and rukhsah. So you can refer here. This is the simple version. Sabab referring to the asbab or the cause of. Syar mean the condition for, and mania is the obstacle to the hukum. So we have discussed about what is sabab and how is the operation of sabab, meaning that when the sabab is exist, then hukum can be exist, but when sabab is absent, then hukum also will be absent. Let's say to impose the hard punishment, yakni the hukum, the prerequisite must be the unlawful sexual intercourse, or to impose the hard punishment, it must be a theft committed. All right. So syar here mean the condition, anything which is absent necessitate the absence of hukum, but which present does not necessarily mean the presence of hukum, meaning that the absent will cause to the absence of hukum, but its existence will not necessarily mean the absence or presence of the hukum. Let's say in the case as a new example, we can have the of covering aurah is the condition to a valid prayer, meaning that if you are not cover your aurah, then it will invalidate your prayer. But covering aurah here doesn't necessarily mean the one need to perform a prayer later on. It is the same context like wudu. Let's say wudu is a condition for a valid prayer. If absent, in case the prayer to become void based on hadith, there is no salat for those who have no ablution. However, it does not necessarily mean that the existence of ablution, he has to pray. Like that. Same to the situation of covering the aurah. Now we shall continue the discussion in regards to mania. Mania here refer to the obstacle. Obstacle, a condition or set of facts may exist that prevent the hukum from being applied even if the cause is found and the condition is met. Meaning that we have the sabab. When we discussed before, there is sabab, then there will be hukum. And also the hukum depend on the condition. But if these two sabab and also condition exist, but at the same time mania also exists, meaning that the obstacle also exists, then the hukum will be absent, because the how mania works is that it will negate the hukum or prevent it from, or negates the hukum or prevent it from coming into operation. So in a simple word, when mania exists, the hukum will be absent. Such example, for inheritance or inheritance, the sabab or the prerequisite, it must be the being and here, meaning that menjadi pewaris, so that you can becoming the you boleh mewarisi lah. But when mania exists, meaning that the killing is an obstacle to inheritance. What does it mean? Let's say, even though the sabab to inheritance is there, becoming the waris, right? But its legal effect will not take place, but its legal effect will not take place because the existence of mania, because the one who killed pembunuh cannot inherit. Okay. So this is mania, how it works. So the next one, we're going to have a look on azimah and rukhsah. So basically, the discussion on azimah and rukhsah need to be read together, cannot be separated. So azimah here refer to the initial rule or original command, while rukhsah here mean assumption, exception, concession, in which it may change the original rule previously. So we can have here the causes of facility, the causes of rukhsah here. Let's say someone in a journey, or she or he in the condition of sickness, ignorant or under duress. So let's say the original rule is that the drinking or consuming khamr is prohibited. Okay, but in a condition, in the case of necessity, but in cases of necessity, one is allowed to consume if it can save him from dying, meaning that to keep survive, but is subjected to several conditions, meaning that you cannot meaning that necessity exists must be treated proportionately, meaning that when in the state of necessity, when there is no more halal food to eat and it may endanger the life of that particular person, then it is the rukhsah that is there in order to exclude him, in which he is allowed to consume the haram food, but subjected to the condition that he or she is not allowed to consume or eat more than he actually needs to survive, but rather to take accordingly to what is enough for him to keep survive. All right. So this is the discussion of Azimah and also rukhsah. The next one, we are going to move on the Sahih, Batil, and also Fasid. Okay. So Sahih here, these three are made based on compliance with essential requirement, yakni arkan or conditions of al-ahkam, meaning that the word sahih here meaning valid, batil is void, and also the Hanafi school of thought come with additional additional category, in which especially in the context of transaction called fasid, deviation or irregular, when there is deficiency in conditions. In this case, an act which is fasid can become sahih if the cause of irregularity is removed. So sahih here meaning that when all of the condition and also the requirements are fulfilled, then the act is valid. But in the otherwise, the acts will be void or batil. And the case of Fasid here, mostly in the context of transaction, and can become an act which is Fasid can become Sahih if the cause of irregularity is to remove. All right. So now we move to the discussion on the differences between hukum taklifi and hukum wad'i. However, I'm yet to discuss hukum taklifi in this channel, but it doesn't matter. I assume that all of you already know on or have some ideas on what hukum taklifi is about. So the nature of hukum taklifi is to impose, to create an obligation for the commission or omission, or to grant the choice between the commission and omission. To impose the obligation, something that you must omit or you must commit. But hukum wad'i here how it works is that to inform that the subject that to inform the subject that a certain thing is a cause of, yakni sabab or condition for yakni syar or obstacle, yakni mania, to a particular hukum, or is to explain the relationship that exists between two rules, or to provide the criteria. Yakni in the case of Sahih and also Sahih, Fasid and also Batil. So actually it need to connect or the prerequisite and example. So the next one, limitation. The hukum taklifi here, the limitation is that to the extent of the mukallaf, to the capability of mukallaf. What does it mean? It means that the act that is effected by hukum taklifi is within the ability or capability of the subject matter to commit or omit. Let's say theft is an act which requires omission and is possible. It is capable to be avoid for the subject, yakni mankind, to avoid it, but the state to avoid it, meaning that we are capable. But for the hukum wad'i, the limitation is that may or may not be within the capability, the ability of the subject to commit or omit. Let's example. We have discussed before that for the let's say in the Zohor prayer, right? What determine, what are the prerequisite, what are the cause for the obligation to perform Zohar prayer is that the setting or this lining of the sun. But the question here, are we human beings are capable to manage the movement of the sun? No, right? So that is why the setting of the sun is legal cause, yakni the sabab for the evening prayer, and it is not possible for the subject to bring about it. All right. So the scope is that on the behalf, thirdly, on behalf of scope, hukum taklifi are subjected to the mukallaf. Mukallaf for akil, baligh, and also Muslim. Meanwhile, Hukum Wad'i is also is addressed to all. Addressed to all Muslim and also the non-Muslim and Muslim, non-Muslim. In which we can see in the case of, let's say, in the case of Mania here, to inherit, but the particular person renounced from Islam, becoming a murtad. So he is no longer a Muslim, right? So he cannot inherit. So I hope you can understand what is meant by Hukum Wad'i is addressed to all. Key types here consists of two lah. Demand here in terms of commission or omission. Or commission here mean for the let's say commission wajib, omission those who are which are haram, and also the optional optional in the case of mubah, given choices, and also makruh. And the one yang ni kita bincang tadi lah, we have concept of sabab, syart, mania, azimah, and rukhsah, Fasid, Sahih, and Batil. So these are the differences between Hukum Taklifi and Hukum Wad'i, and the similarities is that the similarities between two other those both are hukum, i.e. the communication from the lawgiver to the mankind. Yeah. So I think it is all for us for this part 2. So basically we already covered on the Hukum Wad'i and also the differences between Hukum Taklifi and Hukum Wad'i. Inshallah, on the next episode, perhaps we can discuss on the Hukum Taklifi, which is quite lengthy. So I hope to see you on the another part later on, inshallah. So Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.